Today we are talking filters, and more specifically the Cinesoft filters from Tide Optics. Around a year ago I received the original Cinesoft filter from Tide Optics and put it through its paces whilst filming a Ford Puma ST video. Since then Tide Optics have brought out a subtle version of the Cinesoft filter, and I've received quite a few messages, whether it be here on YouTube or over on my Instagram, asking whether I prefer the subtle over the original one. Well, today I'm here to answer that exact question and give you side-by-side comparisons of both filters. So both these filters are available in different sizes, all the way from 49mm all the way up to 82mm. And if you don't know how to find your filter size, then have a look at the end of your lens and you should see this little symbol and a number next to it. That's the size filter that you need for that lens. But my recommendation will be to get something like an 82mm, which is the largest size, and then use a step-up ring to fit the smaller lenses. 82mm filters are normally a little bit more expensive than the smaller size filters, but in the long run they will save you a lot of money because you only need one of each filter, not multiple different sizes. So both of these filters are designed to create cinematic film-like footage with no need to add any kind of effect in post. They will also create a nice diffusion, bloom-like effect around anything which is really bright in your image, as you could see in my previous YouTube video. Another feature I really like about both of these filters is that they're really low profile. You can put these filters on the front of your camera and then stack something like a variable ND filter over the top of that, and you don't get any vignetting. And the great thing about Tide Optics is that they donate 1% of every purchase to the Ocean charity. So by purchasing these filters or any filters from Tide Optics, you are helping the environment, so that's a great thing to see companies now doing. So the difference between these two filters is the strength of each effect. Obviously the subtle one being a lot subtler, and then the normal one being a lot stronger. When it came to the low light test, both of them give a really nice effect, especially with the bright lights in the background. I think both filters make the image look a lot more interesting than without either of the filters, and they certainly give you that diffusion look and help spread out the highlights to make it not as contrasty, I guess you could say, between the lights and the dark background, if you know what I mean. That bloom effect. Everything just looks a little bit nicer, a little bit more cinematic, and that's the kind of vibe that I really like. Unfortunately, I think both of them are very similar to one another, and when looking at the footage, I actually really struggle to distinguish one from the other. But I think that's down to the actual environment and the amount of contrast within the image. But regardless, in a low light environment, they both add something to the image, and it looks so much better than without any filter whatsoever. So when it comes to having more light in your image and doing portraits, I think both of these excel so much. You can see in these portraits that when the filter is used, the light on Tate's face looks a little bit more balanced on the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And both of them help get rid of any imperfections in the skin and just soften the whole thing, ready for when you come around to editing. Both filters soften the image a fair amount, but personally I feel like the normal Cinesoft filter is a little bit too strong in normal daylight conditions. I feel like the subtle version of the Cinesoft filters falls around the right kind of strength that I would be happy with when doing something like portraits. In these portraits you can see the dreamlike effect a little more obvious than you could in the low light footage. So it's quite clear that you need more light to add to that dreamlike effect. So when it comes down to which one of these two filters I prefer, for a long time I've been team full Cinesoft filter. But since looking at this footage and the photos, personally I think the subtle version is maybe more to my liking than the full one. I like that it doesn't soften your image completely and it still gives you the really nice film-like effect. But the full version kind of pushes it a little bit too far when you're wanting to do portraits. But regardless, I feel like both filters have their uses. If you want to get your hands on any of the Tide Optics filters, including the Cinesoft and the Cinesoft Subtle, I'll leave all the links down in the description box below. Now, if you're a videographer and you want to get that cinematic motion blur, then I highly recommend you check out this video right here, where I talk about one of the other Tide Optics filters. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and if you do, I will see you right there. Thank you very much for watching.